So I live in Michigan in the Metro Detroit area, so Lower Peninsula. I did not grow up skiing at all. I took my first lesson after I was married, and we have three children. So I took my first lesson as an adult at about the age of 38. But now our family of five, we ski. We've only skied in Michigan. My husband has a larger history of skiing, but we ski in Michigan, usually in the upper lower peninsula. We plan on traveling out west, or possibly even like a Europe because
Mhm.
of, but we have not yet. We have not yet. So we probably ski in our winter season in Michigan. We probably ski an equivalent of 2 weeks out of the 10 weeks, whether it's long weekends or Christmas break or midwinter break, but we probably altogether about 2 of our 10 weeks we ski. Yes. Yep. So we go up to Nubs Knob, the other mountain across the street, Boyne Highlands.
Mhm.
They have a sister ski resort called Boyne Mountain, and all three of those are within about an hour of each other. And Nubs Knob does not have on-site accommodations. The other two have on-site accommodations. We've never used them though. Nubs Knob is our main ski hill that we love.
And how often then would you say you go in a season?
We make the trip up to Nubs Knob usually 2 to 3 times in the season. It's usually definitely our immediate family, my husband, myself, three kids. Our neighbors introduced us, our neighbors through our school introduced us to Nubs Knob. And so
Mhm.
they have an up north place. So when we go, we usually try to coordinate weekends. We'll usually get our own place. We have stayed with them once or twice. But so we ski with neighbor friends also. We have also tried to bring in like siblings. So our children have cousins, like so aunts and uncles. We've done that once or twice. But we have, found coordinating that and at all different ski levels, that gets tricky too.
Last winter wasn't a traditional Michigan
Right.
cold winter.
Right.
Did that impact how often you went skiing?
It did. We were fortunate that we did make it up north to Nubs Knob 2 weekends. And I'm just glad that there's enough to do in the area outside of Nubs that we could still, explore the town. But we managed, I mean, they do a great job, all three of the resorts up there, of making artificial snow. So we could still ski, but it
And
did affect it. And I should say, and their school program, we definitely felt like we didn't necessarily get our money's worth out of that one because the local hills weren't as great about, they're not as great with being able to manage the artificial snow. They can, but then on top of it, it just was random that their ski club days, my son's school was a Friday night and my daughter's is a Monday night. It seemed like they were just too warm, or the weather just didn't work out that well. So we will probably, at least for the school program, we probably will not pay in advance. And because we also found, like, we were hoping that, so with the school pass, when your student has a ticket, or has the season pass, then the siblings can also ski on those nights. But
okay.
we have found that, my kids want friends or siblings to ski with. They're not going to ski by themselves if they're not with us. And so the younger sibling didn't always have a friend to go with. And then between that and the weather, I was like, let's not pay in advance. We'll just pay as we go. So I
Mhm.
think we're going to pass on that this year, considering the weather. And then, but up north, I don't think it will change anything. The weather this past year won't change anything for us with going up north, because they do such a great job with their artificial snow that even when the weather's gotten to the low 40s, we have skied, but we'll get out there early. Does definitely. Again, we're a family of five, so and they're still growing kids. We haven't really wanted to buy all of them skis yet. So we rent, but there is a local ski shop near our house that we can rent for the season. So we do that. to save cost. We don't always eat on, you know, sometimes we do or get a snack, but we don't always eat on the ski hill. It's expensive, right? And lift tickets, and you take that into account with if we had to rent skis every day, we would probably reduce the number of times we made it up north. But even as we consider, as I mentioned, we want to get out west, ironically, we had one booked and then COVID killed it. But when we consider going out west, we hear that outside of a plane ticket, it's even cheaper to ski in Europe. So, I mean, that's a stretch, but like we want to consider one of those two. My two youngest especially have had, I don't want to say quite a bit, but have had some lessons. So you pay for that and your lift tickets. And it gets expensive. It is not a cheap sport. We're a big outdoors family, so a lot of like our summer, we do travel. We do. So, we have done like an all-inclusive in Mexico once, and that was great. But when we travel and it's not all inclusive, we still are the family that like to travel by VRBO or Airbnb. So that's not much different. We will, if we're not with like neighbors and friends, we will maybe go out to eat like once or twice in the evening. But a lot of our outdoor activities, kayaking and paddleboarding and hiking, and we're big bikers, and so we're not huge tourist family when we travel. So I guess it comes down to the fact that skiing is such an expensive sport. So we still travel like the same way usually, but it's the activities that we do in the off season are cheaper than skiing in the winter season.
Do you feel like they know who you are, or do you think you're just another number?
Oh, we're for sure just another number. Friendly and wonderful, but especially like the Michigan resorts. I mean, there are so many people in this up north Michigan area that I think they know who the season. I don't feel any different the couple of years that we bought the season pass than those that just wear the daily lift tickets. So, I would be apt to say, like, do they cater to those season holders? But I've never felt a difference. I mean, they're wonderful all around, but it's crowded. Sometimes it does feel like throughput. I mean, it gets so crowded up there that, and usually we're on prime time, like all families, like we're traveling up there for a long weekend. So I hear it's a totally different experience skiing during the week. But on the weekends, the other reason we don't really dine there as much is sometimes it turns into standing room only. Like you see kids sitting on the floor against the walls because tables aren't available. And so it just gets to be like really crowded. And I think they're just trying to manage. Because sometimes we'll split the day, we'll go up there and we try to stick it out until like 4 or 5, and then we come home and prep dinner. But sometimes we're dragging a kid along who wants to be done. So if there was maybe like more things at the resort that we could feel safely, like I could be like, my daughter and her friend, maybe they just want to chill in like a Wi-Fi zone where they could, maybe there were lockers where they could have locked up an iPad. I mean, some of the resorts do have like pools and stuff like that, but I guess I would just want to feel like I could safely leave an elementary age child there, and that they would be cared for enough. Even if I had to pay for that service, I probably would. It was fun enough for them that didn't feel like childcare, but that was also monitored enough. Or like, Disney cruises, how they all wear like those wristbands and parents kind of know where they are, and that like if there was some way to keep track of my kid easier, like they could have a longer experience, and then us as parents could obviously have our own separate experience. Like that would be awesome. I don't know how that happens, but that would be awesome. I would never say limit tickets, but it's so difficult to move around in these lodges during a peak time when it's at near capacity, it seems like, that for me, it makes me want to avoid it, quite honestly. I think it's just it's an expensive sport. And if there was any way that, between accommodations and skiing, even if I felt like there were packages, like if with your lodging you got half off a lift ticket and that lodging was similar to like a VRBO or Airbnb rate, like I would consider it. Or paying, I get you would pay a premium if like these mountains that we go to that have a pool and these other things for the evening time, that would be great. But I feel like for us, the bang for our buck, and that is a big factor for us, a family of 5, the bang for our buck has never been there to stay at on-site lodging.